Assertiveness. What does it mean to be assertive? To speak assertively? Well, it's a happy medium of speaking what you believe, what you think, what you want, and doing so without being passive, sort of quiet and looking away, or being on the other side of the pendulum, loud and aggressive and emotional. How can you strike that happy balance? What does it mean to be assertive? And how can you make speaking assertively work for you? Let's get started. The dictionary definition of assertiveness means to be confident without being overly aggressive. So in many of my videos, I've spoken to you about how to speak with confidence, to speak clearly, to speak evenly, to have confidence in what you say. Well, when you're in a confrontation, what is it like to start to go to one of the other ends of the spectrum? For instance, you might be the kind of speaker who, under a confrontation, starts to be passive. What is a passive speaker? What does it look like? Well, it might involve body language, slumped shoulders, looking down, avoiding eye contact. It might also involve speaking more quietly, not using your full voice. Or, for many people, it could mean you start to mumble because you don't believe in what you're saying, or you feel pressed. So in that passive way, you start to mumble, look away, get kind of quiet. Any one of those traits, or all of them, can take away from the power of what you're saying. Now, on the other hand, if you're an aggressive speaker, that might entail speaking more loudly, having a very strong voice, speaking in a way that sounds angry. It's one thing to be confident, it's one thing to be angry, to speak in a way that's coming across that sounds like I'm attacking the other person. So it might be in the tone of your voice, it might be in the volume of your voice, it also might be in your body language. Your body might start to tighten up, your face starts to grimace, and you start to get kind of angry as you speak. Any one of these ways is a valid way of speaking. I'm not saying you can't speak in any of those ways. But the question I do have for you is, in the way you speak, is it working for you? Could you be a more effective speaker? And if you were, especially in these moments of confrontation, how would that make your life better? For instance, if you wanted to ask someone on a date, or you wanted to ask for a raise at work, or perhaps you said you were ready for a new position at work, ready to step up that corporate ladder. How can you do so without being passive, without looking down and not really standing up for your thoughts? And without being aggressive and saying, I really want this job, I really have to have it, which then can come across perhaps as being desperate. Well, both of these ways of speaking, passively or aggressively, come from anxiety or fear perhaps of not getting what you want or losing what you have. The other day I called the cable company over our bill, and I felt a little bit cheated that I hadn't gotten what I wanted. And in this discussion with the cable person, I started to get a little bit overheated. And I realized that's not going to help me, as Dale Carnegie says, win friends or influence people, but rather I'm going to be attacking that person, making them feel wrong, making them feel perhaps stupid. So I had to take a step back and speak in an assertive way, without being passive, without being run over, and without being overly aggressive, running that person over. How can you start to be assertive in the way you speak? It's always good to get a role model. Who is your favorite celebrity or talk show host or perhaps podcast interviewer or host. How do they speak? You might notice that they speak clearly. I won't say slowly. I shan't say slowly. I shall not say slowly. But perhaps they speak clearly with a full voice. They're not passive in the way they speak, nor are they overly aggressive in the way they speak. Find that person who you'd like to emulate and notice what they do. They have eye contact, they speak with a full voice, and they speak clearly. By starting to do those three things, you will develop an assertive way of speaking and be able to speak assertively even under moments of confrontation. Try this, see how it works for you. Start to learn how to speak in the way that you want to speak, even in moments of confrontation. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.